Good day, students, and welcome to another class on how to GeoGebra. So today we'll be looking at the basic interface of GeoGebra, and then we'll look at how to construct points, segments, lines, polygons, and then some basic linear and quadratic functions. All right, so first let's look at the interface of GeoGebra Classic 5. So when you open the GeoGebra app, you will always be met with two interfaces. One side will have the algebra, and then another side, the graphic. So this is the graphic sheet where you see the graphical representation of whatever you are doing. And then this is the algebra space where the algebraic expressions of whatever you are inputting will appear. All right, so these are the two that you will always see when you open the app for the first time, but it's not the only two that is supported by the GeoGebra app. So if you can have an additional graph sheet if you require it, and you can also have a 3D sheet if you are working with 3D objects. So to get those, you just need to go to the view option, and then you see the graphics tool, which is for a new graphic sheet. If you require that, if you don't need that, you just close it and work with these two. Or if you require a 3D sheet, you can come to the 3D graphics under the view option, and then you get a 3D sheet here if you are working with 3D objects. All right. Now, there are two ways. Okay, so let's talk about the toolbar. So the buttons that you see here are all tools that can help you in whatever you are trying to do in the GeoGebra app. So the bar that contains all these tools is called the toolbar. So let's look at the tools that we have here. We have the move tool, we have the point tool, the line tool, the perpendicular line tool, polygon tool, circle with center, 2 points, ellipse, angle, reflect about line, slider, and then move graphics view. All right. So each of these tools here have relating tools under them. What I mean is that when you click on a tool, you get a drop-down menu which gives you other relating tools. So although this tool is move, you see that it has other relating tools under it, which is move around the point, freehand shape, and then pen. The same applies to all the tools here. Each tool has relating tools under it. So you just need to click the tool, and then you will get other relating tools under them as well, which you can use in whatever you are trying to do. So let's start with points, okay? So first, let's understand the definition of a point. Now, what is a point? We know that a point is a single location in space with no size or dimension, okay? So we'll consider this sheet here as space, and therefore we are going to create a point here on this sheet that we have. Okay, now there are two ways to create anything in GeoGebra. The first is what we call the click and point approach. So what that means is that if I want to create a point here, A, what I need to do is to go to the toolbar, locate points, click points, okay, click points. So I select points, and then I just click on wherever I want my points to be. So let's say I want my points here. That is 10, 2. So you know points are formed by two coordinates, the X and the Y coordinates. That's when you're in 2D, and then when you're in 3D, you get the X, Y, Z coordinates. So here, since we're in 2D, it's just the X and Y coordinate that we need. So I'm going to take and we know the X axis is the horizontal, while the Y axis is the vertical. So I'm going to take my points as 10 and then 2. So the X is 10 and the Y is 2. So therefore my point should be here. So the first step is to just click on where you want your point to be, and automatically the point to be placed there. And you see that at the algebra side too, our point has appeared there. And GeoGebra has automatically named the point for us as point A. And that is the coordinate for it, which is 10, 2. This is one way to input something into GeoGebra. You can use the tools over here. The second way is to use the input function or the input feature down here in your GeoGebra app. So if let's say I want to input another point B on this same sheet, so I come to my input button here. Now this input button works very simply. You just need to enter the name of whatever you want to input. Let's say I want to input a point, but I want to name the point B. So my B, so let's do it capital B, then my equal to sign, then the function of whatever I want to do. So since here I'm trying to input a point, and we know a point is in coordinate form, I just bring my parentheses and then type in the coordinates of the points that I want to insert. So let me insert a point at 3, 1. That is the x coordinate 3 and y coordinate 1. So 3, 1. I press my enter, and then my point is inserted into the sheet. So you can see it has appeared here, and it has also appeared in my algebra section. Now you have to be careful. Once you have your 2 selected here, you need to be careful about clicking the graph sheet, because any click that you make will insert whatever that you have selected here into the sheet. If you don't want that to happen, then you must always make it a point to come back to move, select move, and now when you click anywhere, you see that nothing happens. So you need to take note of that as well. All right. So now we have 2 points here, and we have learned of the 2 different ways to insert anything into GeoGebra. Now, let's proceed and add a third point, C, on our sheet. So let's add a third point, C. To do that, let's go to point. Let's use the points and click approach. So let's go to point, and then we want our point somewhere here. So that is 5, 6, that's the coordinate 5, 6. So we insert our point C. Then we go back to move, so that when we click, nothing happens. All right. So now we've learned about points. This is how you can create a point in GeoGebra. Now let's say I mistakenly, I didn't select the move button, and I kept my 2 on point, and I mistakenly clicked somewhere on my graphic sheet. Suppose I don't want this point and I want to get rid of it. I can come to move so that I don't keep repeating that error. Then on the graph sheet, you can right click on the point, and then you see a delete button there that can help you to delete the point. You can also come to your algebra sheet or your algebra section, select the part that you don't want by right clicking on it, and then you see the delete there, which will help you get rid of anything that you mistakenly placed on the sheet. Now to move on, we would like to create some lines and some line segments using the points that we have here. So as usual, there are 2 ways to insert it. You can insert it using the input function here, or you can use the toolbar here to insert your line segment. So let's use the toolbar to insert the line that we want. Now a line is a series of points connected together that extend infinitely. So you can click on your line, and then you now click on the points that you want to connect. So you just click 2 points on the line, and then once we get 2 points on the line, our line will be created for us. So let the first point be C, and then the second point, let it be B. And then the line has been named F. So this here on the algebra screen, you can see the equation of the line here. Okay. Then we can create another line from C to A, and then we get a new line or a new function here, J, which is also the equation of this line here, passing through C and A. Then our final line can be from B to A, and we have a new function H, which describes this line H over here. So this is also how you can insert a line on your sheet. Now there is also what we call line segment, and a line segment is a line but with finite endpoint. So we know the endpoint of a line segment. So it's part of a line with a definite beginning and end. Okay, so here we have lines. So we can also get line segments from these lines, but we can start by removing to create our line segments. So when you click on the blue button here, it removes it hides what you have done. It hides whatever you have unticked here. It hides it on the graph sheet. You no longer see it on the graph sheet, but it is still there. But it will no longer be seen on the graph sheet. So let's do that. Let's untick these 3 functions here, and then the lines disappear. Now let's go to line here again, this line 2, and then this time around we'll select a segment. So now we click on C, and then to B, and then we get a segment I from B to C or C to B. Then we click on B again to A, then we get another segment J or segment AB or BA. Then we click on A to C, then we get another segment CA or AC or K. Okay, so this is 3 segments that we have here. All right, so this is also how to create a segment. Or you can use the input button. So let's say this I here, let's click this I so that it goes away, it hides it. So we click the blue icon here to hide the I. Now let's go to the inputs. Let's say we wanted to use the input rather instead of using the click and point approach. You want to use the input button. Then you can say let the name of this segment that we're about to create be P. So P equals, then there is a function key built into GeoGebra, which is sec, and that is what will help us get the segment. So when you type seg, you see that you get a recommendation from GeoGebra, and then the inputs that segment function takes. So here the segment function takes 2 points. So that's the starting point and then the ending point. So since we want a segment from B to C or from C to B, we'll just input that as our point. So since we already have C and B here, we have the names of them here. We won't type the points in coordinate form. We'll rather just use the denotations for the points. So here, our point is B, and then the second, so it's capital B. You have to be careful about this, the case, as it's case sensitive. So B, and then the other point is C. So you're gonna press enter, the line segment will be created, and that's what we have here. That's P here, and this is P on the graphical sheet. All right. So now, although we see from the graphical sheet that this is a triangle, GeoGebra has not yet recognized the shape here as a triangle. And that is where polygons comes in. Polygons is what tells GeoGebra that this shape here is a triangle. Okay, so in order to tell GeoGebra that what the shape that we have here is a triangle, we have to click the polygon icon and then select polygon. Then now you select all the points that are included in the polygon. So first, you can understand the definition of a polygon so that we know what we are doing. You know that a polygon is a closed two-dimensional shape made up of connected line segments, okay? So a closed dimensional shape. So this is a two-dimensional shape because we are working in 2D. So a polygon is just, it's made up of connected line segments. Now we have connected some line segments here, right? So if connected line segments, we are working in 2D with connected line segments, so that means we can form a polygon here. Okay, so we use the polygon button, the polygon tool, we select points B, and now we select point A, but you are not done. You realize that as I move my cursor around, you can still see an effect of the polygon. So that means that I've not yet enclosed my polygon. That is why I can still see it as I move my cursor around. So I need to go back to C, click it, and now when I move my cursor around, it's no longer moving. That means my polygon is enclosed now. And now this polygon has now been recognized by GeoGebra as a triangle. And as you can see in the algebra section, we now have something new here called T1, and T1 is 16.5. No, these values that you have here is the B, C, A here, I believe they are the distances. But as we go on, we'll get to understand them much better. So I'm thinking the T1 here might be the area that GeoGebra is already calculating for us as we are working on our polygon. So this is how you can create a polygon. You just need your points, and then you go to the polygon tool. Based on whatever polygon you are creating, you just connect the points, and then you get your polygon. All right. So now when you look at this algebra section, you realize that this thing here is arranged based on whatever that we were doing. So we started by creating a point A, and that is why A is here. And then we ended with the polygon. That is why we have the triangle here, T1 equals something, okay? So this arrangement is based on what we did first, followed by next thing up to the end. So this is the last thing that we did. If you don't want it to display this way, which sometimes can be very, very clumsy, you can click the arrow button here at the algebra section. Then when you put your cursor here, you see sort objects by. So you want to click on that. Then you see here, they've already selected the construction order. Okay, so that's what it is, arranging this based on the construction order, but we don't want that. We want it by object type to make our work much nicer. So when you click the object type, you see everything is arranged. So these are the lines. The lines, we have line F, G, H. which we have unselected. So when we select them again, when we click these boxes here, we check them where those lines will appear. But since they are not there because of this uncheck button, but the lines are actually there, but just that we've unchecked them. So we have lines in there, F, G, H. Then we have points, A, B, C, which are here. Then you have the segments. So there are segments too, and these segments have been named A, B, and C. And then we also have I, J. So these A, B, and C are the segments of the triangle that we created as a result of the polygon 2. And this I, J, K is just representing the actual segment that we just drew initially before using the polygon 2. All right, so these are some of the basic things that can be done with the GeoGebra app. So as time goes on, we will advance to more complicated stuff. But for now, this is all that we are going to look at for now. And then when we meet again for another class, we shall look deeper into functions and some more functions. We shall look into some more functions. So before we leave, we can actually create quadratic functions, linear functions, whichever function you want to create. We can create it using this input key over here. So let's say I want to insert a quadratic function because we already have linear functions already inserted. So the linear function, we inserted these functions by using lines. We just created a line, and the line, we know that linear functions are basically just lines. So when you create any line here, you have created a linear function. So suppose you didn't want to create a linear function in that using just the line tool here, you can come to your inputs section and create a line. So let's create a line y equals, now you know the general equation of a line is y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient. So here, let's create a line y equals maybe 4x, then plus maybe 3. So you see that as I'm typing it, GeoGebra is already drawing it on the graph sheet for me. So once I like my line, I like how it looks, I can just press my enter, and then it will be registered into the memory of GeoGebra. So it has been added into the line category under the algebra. You see now I have my line here, which is y equals 4x plus 3. It has been added to it, and it is highlighted. That is why we can see it on the graph sheets. So now suppose you don't want to create a line, but you rather want to create a quadratic, so a curve, you want to create a quadratic function. The approach is the same. So I have so we know the general form of a quadratic equation is A. So we are doing quadratic, so we know the highest exponent is going to be squared. So of the x, the highest exponent of the x is going to be squared. So we have the general form as ax squared plus bx plus c. So y equals, then let's pick our a to be maybe 4x, then squared. So to write your squared, you can use this symbol here, this symbol, and then 2. So that is 4x squared. Then maybe plus bx. So let's say 7, or let me go with 6x. And then our constant, let's take 5. So let me try 7. No, it's getting smaller, so 1. Okay. Then how about -1? All right, so I'm just playing around with it, but you can see that whatever I'm typing here, GeoGebra is showing me whatever I'm typing, how it looks, the preview of it on the graph sheet. So if that is what I was looking for, if I already knew what I was looking for, when I see the preview there, I will know whether I've done a mistake in my typing or it's accurate. If what you typed is what you were looking for, you just press the enter, and then it will be registered into the memory of the GeoGebra app. And now, you see here a new section has been created called conic, and that is where our curve has been registered in, because curves are all conic sections. Okay, so it has been registered under the conic section. All right, so these are some of the basic things you can do with the GeoGebra app, and as we meet again, we shall look further into more complicated things that you can use the GeoGebra app to do. All right, so thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you again in the next lecture. My name is Ayamfo Ebenezer, and I'm glad to be your tutor for today. Thank you.